as soon as possible or no later than 1 calendar day after the acceptance of an offer being rejected or accepted, you must send this form back to the cooperating brokerage or that agent and any unrepresented buyers who have submitted the offers. And regardless if the offer that you accepted is conditional or not, this document again needs to be filled out.
Yeah, but
Right.
again, this goes back to professionalism and training. Do you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
you can come up with all the forms that you want, and we are going to talk about how to properly fill them out, but there is a greater issue at hand here. And so I think that that is what truly needs to be addressed.
Good morning. I'm your co-host, Jenny Woon.
Morning. I'm your co-host, Toni Singh.
Nice to see you, Toni.
You too. Thanks, everyone, for joining us.
Yes, always tuning in. You guys are so loyal. And for those who are brand new, welcome to our show. You know, this episode is all prompted about 2 weeks ago because of a new announcement.
Drum roll, please.
Introducing disclosures of multiple offers, but to be fancy, DMOP.
This is a super sexy topic, you guys. So
And much
hold on
needed.
to your hats.
Okay, does this sound familiar? Have your sellers or buyers have ever said to you, well, there's 5 offers to present. How do I know that it's true?
Yes, I've had this happen before, as I'm sure every single realtor has. It makes sense, actually, doesn't it?
Has your buyer ever asked you, how do I know that my offer is being presented?
Our offer, maybe one time, yeah.
And have you come across the same thing where there was no offers at all on a property, and you happen to want to put an offer on that same day as another offer is going to be coming in at the same time?
Yes, that's happened. And I know where you're going with that, but I can also say that sometimes that's just what happens. It's Murphy's Law, guys. It's not always bad.
So agents and buyers are going in blind, and when they're putting in an offer, and you must take the word of the listing agent and the number of offers being submitted. And
Right.
as you know, in our market, we're in a multiple offer situation pretty much on the daily right now.
For sure.
So if you're part of the Real Estate Greater Vancouver board, the Fraser Valley board, and the Chilliwack of District and District board, effective July 17th, I think this episode will probably be airing maybe around just after. So the rules of cooperation in multiple offers, that this form needs to be presented.
Yeah, and completed.
And completed. So what are the steps to getting this form signed?
Yeah, and keep in mind, guys, we haven't actually gone through the process yet. We just know that it's coming. So step number 1 would be a form signed by the seller that after all offers have been presented and a decision has been made, regardless if an offer is accepted or if all other offers are rejected. So the seller does need to sign off on the fact that, yes, these have been presented, even if we're not taking one.
As soon as possible or no later than 1 calendar day after the acceptance of an offer being rejected or accepted, you must send this form back to the cooperating brokerage or that agent and any unrepresented buyers who have submitted the offers. And regardless if the offer that you accepted is conditional or not, this document again needs to be filled out. And actually, the form is already available in our web forms, in our the platform where you're downloading all the forms. So you can't use it yet until July 17th. However, it is available for you to review.
Yeah. And then the third thing as well is to keep all forms with the property and or file, I guess we should say, right? In case there are any questions in the future from the board, or the BCFSA or a lawyer if somebody, for some reason,
decides
wants
to take you to court.
verification
Yes.
that actually did indeed happen.
Right. On this form, there's a few fields to fill out. So besides the property address and your name and then seller's name, you're going to list the total number of offers that have been presented. So
Mhm.
there's one, you're just going to put in order 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Mhm.
There's 5 offers. You're going to want to put the date of the offer that you received the offer, and then as well the name of the cooperating brokerage
Yep.
that submitted the offer.
We're gonna have a discussion about it, but basically, who is this for and who does it benefit?
Okay. The 3 questions that I asked you
Yeah.
obviously always comes from the buyer, right?
Yes.
It always comes from the buyer. So what is it? What you want to do is try to build consumer confidence and build the trust that this system that we have, that we're working with, works. And there's honesty, and that
For
that
sure.
everybody is performing in good faith.
I wanna say something with a caveat before we go into that. I mean, honestly, there's a lot of professionals, Jenny, that take this stuff seriously anyhow. So regardless of whether or not these forms would need to be filled out, most of the realtors that I know would not be doing anything shady anyhow. And to be honest, I get why there's a place for these forms for sure, but I also feel as though, and I'm going to go rogue a bit here, I feel as though the profession overall, the fact that we're rolling out these forms, it actually means that they don't trust the professionals that are in it. And I have a problem with that. I think that there's a variety of other ways besides these forms and adding additional paperwork and adding more protocols in where there's a higher issue here that can be dealt with in a different way. So I think that that should happen as well in addition to these forms. That's all I'll say about that. Does that kind of make sense? I'm like, okay, what? You're coming out with a form, make it
After the fact.
mandatory, blah, blah, blah. Like we've known about this for years. There are additional things professionally that should be emphasized for everybody so that it shouldn't have even gotten to the point where these forms would need to be filled out.
Right.
Anyhow, I digress. But yeah,
But
let's go on to the
Greg, who
points.
was on a few episodes ago, he
Mhm.
did mention that which I totally agree. I think the best way is to upload it into a system where you can actually in real life,
In real time. Yeah.
see how many offers are going in. You don't need to particularly disclose the details of it or being asked the details of
Absolutely,
it,
you
but
can't.
just even seeing that the number of offers that are going in
Yeah,
for a particular
that's a bit of a
property.
different thing though.
Yeah.
So yeah,
So
okay.
probably a
So who
different
is this
platform you have to
for
build.
and what are the benefits of filling out these
Okay, so the
forms?
buyer, it's to reassure them, to give them comfort that their offer has been reviewed. You're improving the communication with the clients on who made the offers on the property, and as well unrepresented buyers that their offers being
Yeah.
presented. The intention is to give buyers a concrete number rather than pulling a number out of thin air and going in blind, that you do know when the listing agent says we received 30 offers, that there was indeed 30 offers.
I get that. And there's also another thing here that I don't know that the boards and BCFSA has thought about, which is the definition of a free market. But again, separate topic for today because there are like overall, I actually think it's a good thing. More transparency is good, but I think that there are certain things that have not been thought about, which I don't appreciate.
Mm. So Tony, you were mentioning, we could be a lot more proactive. We didn't need to get to this paperwork.
No, most of the real estate professionals that I know, like, yeah. So if you go back in your career, Jenny, let me ask you this. In your career, how many times do you think it's happened where an agent's actually lied to you or misrepresented something on purpose, willfully, and knowingly about offers on a property? How many times? You've been in the business for a long time.
Where I've discovered that they actually,
Or you suspected, so both. Give both.
I'm going to say I've trusted every single one. However, I found out the other day that someone wrote in there was an accepted offer when there was no accepted offer.
Oh,
And I was like,
who
that's
would
a
do
really
that?
poor strategy. That's a really poor strategy. Not for someone from my brokerage,
Okay.
obviously, but and I was like, well, what's the whole point in that? And I learned that there was no accepted offer through somebody else.
Mhm.
And I was wondering why. What would be the reason why it would benefit the seller?
Yeah,
Because
that's just a poor practice, I think.
right? So
Hopefully it's no one from my brokerage
there
too,
are
right?
going to be some agent, no one from your
No.
brokerage, but there are some agents who will avoid showing that property because there's an accepted offer,
Yeah, but
right?
again, this goes back to professionalism and training. Do you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
you can come up with all the forms that you want, and we are going to talk about how to properly fill them out, but there is a greater issue at hand here. And so I think that that is what truly needs to be addressed. I can say personally in my career, I've never done anything weird. Like,
No.
when we get multiple offers on a property, we make sure we're in communication with every single person who's
Mhm.
given us one, and it's pretty clear with what, bearing in mind what we can and cannot disclose, right? But the
Mhm.
rules of cooperation are always taken into account. So I feel like this is a band-aid for a greater issue, and I would like it to be explored more.
You know what? Okay, have they even thought about this? What if there were, let's just say 30,
Mm.
okay? Because that can happen,
Yeah,
and then out of the 30,
they pull out.
8 withdraw.
That happens
So, are you
too.
writing 30 or are you writing 22?
So, but this is what I'm saying again. I appreciate that the governing bodies and things want to quote unquote protect people. Like, I know this is not going to make me popular, but I'm going to speak my truth here. I have a problem with some of these things that the regulating bodies try and implement without giving greater thought, like actually thought about the true scenarios here, because that does happen. Like, if you're, picture this, then you're not the realtor, you're the buyer. You're the buyer. There's 30 offers that you're aware of, and you're writing on your dream home. And you know what? Maybe you're like, holy shit. Yeah, holy shit. Maybe I don't want to pay. Am I overpaying by 50K or 100K? Or like, this is just getting too much to me for me. I'm going to revoke my offer. That happens.
Mhm.
So, how do we deal with that? Like,
Here's
can you guys
another
give
here's another
direction?
scenario.
Yeah.
What if there's 30 and then the agent goes back to only 5,
Mm.
and out of the 5, they go back to 10, and out of the 10, the 5 decide to give a new offer.
Hmm.
So are you also like, shouldn't you disclose how many new offers you're now competing against if only 5 decide to come back?
But Jenny, you think of this because you're a thought provoking, introspective person. And this is what I'm saying is that I appreciate that. I understand why these forms exist. And I would ask, please, that there is greater discussion about them before they're implemented. I have other things to say about this too, which is we should just do a separate podcast episode about it, because our purpose here is trying to teach, I guess, or give light to how to fill out the forms properly so that you guys can be compliant.
Right. Thanks for tuning in. This form, disclosure of a multiple offers presentation, it's out right now. Everybody's putting some articles and videos out. Just wanted to let everyone know.
Yeah. And also, I would be curious to know your guys' thoughts. I mean, I would imagine that most people listening to this podcast care about transparency just like we do.
Mhm.
Is this the best way? Are there additional things professionally that we could implement as like to increase the transparency and professionalism within our industry? Are there other things that can be done besides slapping people with more forms that might not have the intended effect that they want?
Mhm. And just keep doing doing doing
Do
your
the
due
best you can.
diligence.
Do the best you can.
Tony, you're really great at managing people's expectations and giving them concrete evidence of updates and things that happen with the listing. So let's always lead by example as we do.
For sure. Thanks for tuning in, everyone.
Thanks, guys.